Welcome to the Activity Time Podcast, hosted by the SLE Marketing team.
Welcome back, Dons. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Activity Time. I'm Emilio.
And I'm Macy.
And we're the SLE Marketing team.
In the previous episode, we had the opportunity to talk to Hawaiian Ensemble about the amazing activities they're executing these past few months, along with the hard work that goes behind creating a community.
Today, we thought it would be great to bring in an amazing organization and understand more about the community they have built and more. Please welcome One Less Thing, Rebecca Hammett. Woo!
Hello.
Hi, welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us today.
So I'm Rebecca Hammett. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I'm the founder of One Less Thing. I have been in San Francisco for about 20 years now, which is hard to believe. I grew up in Southern California and went to school in San Luis Obispo at Cal Poly, and then migrated north. Right after I graduated, I had a job in sales selling employee benefits and did that for a long time. But I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And I mean, ever since I can remember, I was always dreaming of the business I was going to start. And finally, this was the business I started, which is One Less Thing.
Rebecca, I heard you say that you grew up in Southern California. Whereabouts, if you don't mind me asking? I'm calling in from Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah. So I grew up in a town called Hacienda Heights.
I live in La Mirada.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I have family in Hacienda Heights. What a small world.
Not many people know Hacienda Heights.
Yeah. Wow.
I usually end up telling them by the freeways.
Yes, the 60.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right in between. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh my gosh, what a small world.
Cool.
I love that. You mentioned you were the founder of One Less Thing, and I kind of wanted to learn a little bit more about what is One Less Thing.
Sure.
What is the role it plays in the Bay Area community?
So it's an online platform, and it connects college students who are looking for part-time work and gigs with people, households, and small businesses in the community who need their help. And it can be, giving them a hand with just about everything. We see all types of jobs get posted.
I love to hear that. So it seems like it's a platform. It's like an app or is it a website?
So it's web-based.
Web-based, okay. And then someone like me could go in and just post what I'm good at, and then someone could connect with me?
Right. And so our goal is, students are very busy, and most students, not all, but I know at least when I was a student, I was always in need of cash. And it's not always, you don't always have the ability to commit to a job. But sometimes you are looking for a 20-hour-a-week job. So our goal is to provide you both opportunities so that if you're looking for a steady stream of income, you can find that job doing something you love, it's something you're great at. And also if, just on a random Friday, you have a couple hours free, our hope is that you can find a job filling that time if you have some free time.
That's wonderful. And just kind of adding on to what Macy had asked, what inspired you to create One Less Thing, and where did the journey begin?
Yeah, so I mean, it's twofold. It's a two-pronged answer, but being a college student, I was always broke. And I found myself, I had a babysitting job, and I would find myself in need of cash, and I would be stranded, and I would call the woman I babysat for, and I'd say, do you have any other work for me? Is there anything else I can do for you? And she would say, sure, why don't you? I did everything for her. I cleaned her house. I dog sat. I, of course, babysat. One time she had me drive her and her family members around wine tasting. And so for me, it was a huge sense of security to know that I had this option if I really found myself strapped. And so I was very grateful to her that I had that means. And then as I became an adult and was working full time and had kids, oh my gosh, you're always needing a hand. But for me, where it really started is I had my first child, who at the time was just an infant, and I walked into a coffee shop and struck up a conversation with, there was a couple there, and they were dropping their daughter off at USF. And she was playing with my son, and we were having a great conversation, learning all about them. And I started walking home, and I was thinking, what was I thinking? Why didn't I ask her if she'd be interested in babysitting? So I ran back, I got her phone number, and sure enough, she was willing to help out. And so we had a great relationship. She helped me babysitting. Um, and then kind of the aha moment came when I was hosting Thanksgiving dinner, and I was having 30 people come over. And I started to stress out about, everything I had to do, from the shopping to the making dinner, and how this was all going to happen. A very small house. And I asked my sitter if she was around, if she wanted to help out. And she was like, "Oh, this is great. I have nothing else going on. I'm not going anywhere for Thanksgiving." And it was the best hosting experience I had ever had. It was the first time I had actually enjoyed myself. And so I started thinking, why am I not hiring college students to help out with other things that I know they're good at? And my friends started seeing that I was hiring college students and started asking me, "Hey, can you find someone to help me? We're having a picnic down at Fort Mason. We just need someone to reserve a picnic spot for a few hours until we get there." Or, the list went on. And then I was like, "Oh, I think I have a business here." And that's pretty much how it started. My own personal needs, both as a student and then as an adult.
I
Students are adults.
I love the story. I mean, I believe you mentioned, needing someone during like the break. And I remember as a freshman at USF, Thanksgiving break, I was there and I had nothing to do. And I wish I would have known about something like,
Right.
yeah, I would have definitely taken anything I could get at that time. So it's really, really nice that you created this platform for both, the community and USF students. And being a founder comes with a lot of obstacles, I imagined. And I was just wondering, what are some of the fondest memories that you have while creating One Less Thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, but um, before I even quit my sales job, and when I was in the exploration stage, I had printed hard copy questionnaires for students, and I went on campus, and it was during lunchtime, and I went around and handed out these questionnaires, and basically asking students if they would be interested in finding part-time jobs and one-off jobs. And I asked what they were great at, what they loved doing, if they had their dream job, if they could get paid doing anything, what would that be? How much would they want to get paid? And for me, there were about 40 of them. And when I got home, it was like Christmas for me. I still have that stack, by the way. And I remember reading through all of them, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is a great student. And this is a great student. And oh, she loves soccer. She can help my friend Susie." I just went through all of them. And immediately, the people who were asking me to connect them with students, everybody started coming to mind who would be a good match for what. And that was really fun and a really reaffirming moment for me, knowing that students would want these jobs. And the thing that I think I really didn't anticipate is how impressed I would be by the students. So that's a really fond memory, of course. And then just as time has progressed, the more students that I meet, the more I get to see their outcomes, from starting as a freshman, and then when they graduate, and seeing the different jobs they get, and how that's helped them progress in their development and maturity, which is so rewarding for me. For me, it's all about helping the students find their way too.
Right. I really liked what you said right there at the end, is helping students find their way, and just kind of reflecting on this past year with the pandemic. And it's definitely been a difficult ride with just for students, I think, to find jobs out there with businesses closing and all. But at
Yeah.
the same time, there's been opportunities for growth and innovation for new things out there. But again, now that we're kind of become more hopeful, more people getting vaccinated and all, and plans to go back in person, definitely curious to know, like, what has One Less Thing been currently working on this past year remotely, and what should we keep an eye out for?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, obviously it's the obvious thing, but absolutely, this has been a really interesting, tough year for everybody. And oddly enough, just as COVID hit, we relaunched our website. And so that was obviously not fantastic timing in some ways, but in other ways, it was good. But we primarily at that time had focused on streamlining and making things easier for the people hiring. And now we're at the phase where we're really taking a deep dive into how can we make this better for students? How can we make this easier for students? So now that we have it down for the people hiring, now we need to make it easier for you. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is, it has been, I mean, I would love to say it's different, but it's been quiet for us too for job postings. I mean, people haven't felt comfortable having people in their homes. They haven't been obviously in person for work. We've had some, the jobs that we've had have been like the online tutoring jobs. We've had jobs posted like to lead an online book club. But we really see, like you're saying, now that the vaccine's coming, we can feel the energy. We can see people are starting now to post jobs again. We're ready for this. We think it's going to be an influx of opportunity. And so where we're at is we need to start re-engaging with students, because students have kind of, and I get it. Like, it's like, let's just get through this thing. I just want to get through my schooling. The last thing that's on my mind is finding work, but I want to make sure that students are ready, and we're ready for them when you're ready. So, but we want students to have their profiles ready, make them the best that they could be. So when that job does come around, you're ready to grab it. And so that's kind of, we're focused on the student side, making it a more streamlined, easier process, and then also really getting students re-engaged.
I think Macy and I, we've definitely learned this past year too, is for students to find projects to keep them motivated and
Right.
and just going and because yeah, I'm at a loss of words right now. But like, for example, with us creating the podcast, it's like, it's kind of what's helping us get through it. But at the same time, we're still growing as people.
Absolutely.
And again, it's a good resume builder for students out there. As the marketing team knows, I recently picked up another job outside just to get me out of the house and have human interaction again. I needed that, especially being back home. But
it's a mental health thing too, and everybody, you need to feel like you're moving forward and progressing to feel, usually to feel like you're accomplishing something, So it's been a time.
It really has been.
And I do agree. I think that we're kind of coming to a point where we can see things going back, at least to what it was before. So that's what we hope for. And I can see many students taking advantage of this as soon as they're all vaccinated and everything's just opening up. So I agree with that for sure. And then you mentioned that students are, they're able to create a profile. And I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about what it looks like to sign up for One Less Thing.
Sure. So when you create your profile, you're going to tell us the basic information about yourself. So, your major, maybe your minor, what college you go to, even what high school you went to, because what we're finding is some people in the community like to hire the alumni of the high school that they went to. So that comes into play sometimes. And then the two questions that we ask is, your bio, and then also what you love to do. And, my message to students would be, I understand, I know there's a lot of job sites out there. And, I think there's there's a sense that, might be the third job site I'm signing up for. I just want to upload my resume, or I just want to type in the bare minimum information until I see a job that fits my need. And then maybe I'll put a little more effort into it. But really what sets students apart, the students that end up getting a lot of work, are those that take the time to really tell about themselves. People want to know, like, I love to find out, where did you grow up? Are you from a large family, a small family? What were your passions? What makes you unique? And especially when you're talking about what you love to do, I have had so many occasions where I'll be talking with a student and I'll read their information on the site, and then I'll start having a conversation, and someone will say, oh, well, I started this jewelry making company. I'm like, okay, but it doesn't say that here. Oh, well, no one really cares. Well, sure enough, once we got that information out there, that student found a job working for a jewelry maker. She actually ended up making bracelets for a nonprofit for a hearing impaired company, and also made jewelry at a store on Union Street. So to answer your question about, that's the main bit of information that we ask, and also a video. Again, I find that students are a little reluctant. It's kind of an awkward experience, to film yourself. I think people are getting more and more comfortable with that. But that's the best way to tell your story and convey your personality and who you are. And that's also something that we love to help with. And then the last component is, of course, including your availability, which changes quite frequently, we know. So updating that and, keeping that information relevant so that you're finding the correct job match. And your skills. So there's a list of about almost 200 skills. So it's pretty comprehensive. And we want students to mark the ones that they excel at. So maybe you speak Mandarin and you can do that well. You want to get a job translating, or you play lacrosse. There's a very diverse mix. We have our goal is, if you have a skill that you're great at, we want you to be able to express that so that you can find that job if someone's looking for that exact match.
You pretty much, I had a follow-up question on that, and you pretty much answered it. It basically just knowing, we're in a very competitive pool here, and I was curious to know about, like, what is one less thing look for in potential applicants. I think that was a lot of what our listeners were wanting to hear. So thank you for really going in depth with describing the whole application process with us.
Yeah, sure.
And so another question that I would have is, what are some things, like, specifically University of San Francisco students could do for Bay Area families, would you say, like, right now versus post-pandemic?
So right now, the online tutoring, and also graphic design and social media jobs have been in high demand. So those are the main core jobs that we've seen during the pandemic. Although we are starting to see, there's a lot of elderly people who need help. So as much as many of them have been reluctant to bring someone in the house, they've done that because they just need the assistance. They don't like to go to the store themselves, or they may have projects that they're working on at home that they just need some outside help with. And then post-pandemic, we get the broadest range of jobs. We've had jobs listed. Some, they wanted someone to dress up in a Hello Kitty costume at a party. So we get everything from that to being a DJ. But the most common ones are babysitting, personal assistants, and those are the ones in the household. And then, of course, mentorship. We've had jobs posted for someone who had a child that had Down syndrome but wanted to run, and they were just looking for a running partner for their child. So things that people just need a mentor or a helping hand. And then on the business side, we get research jobs, the graphic design and social media jobs are the most popular.
That's really nice. I love to hear the variety and jobs that are being asked for. I love it. There's certainly something for everyone, I believe.
Yes.
And yeah, would you mind telling USF students what are like the benefits of signing up for something like One Less Thing?
So it's really a great way for you to market yourself. And our goal is for us to, and this is what we're working toward, but our goal is this is your platform. This is your platform to tell your story and get across who you are. And so, we are hyper local. And also what that means for you is you're not competing against hundreds of applicants for one job. So I think also, I want students to know that they can come to this website. They might be one of 3 applicants for a job, and there's a high likelihood that they'll get it. So that's the number one thing, is this is your marketing platform to market yourself. Of course, the obvious is to make money when you need it. We have a feature when you log on that if you're available for 3 hours of time or more on that day or the next day, that you can indicate that. And then we send a text message out to our community, and we'll say, so-and-so is available today from such and such time to such and such time. And, respond now if you want to hire them. So being able to find jobs on demand is our goal. There's been fewer jobs now and people in need, but that's going to change as things progress. The other benefit is that you make connections in the community. So what we found is, somebody takes a job helping out at a party, and they do a great job. And then the next person needs some help, maybe babysitting. And they say, I just worked with so-and-so at our party. They did a really great job. And the next thing you know, you're graduating and you're looking for a job. Well, now you know all of these people in the community who just may well be in the field that you're looking for your next full-time job when you graduate. So definitely making connections and building reviews. So if you do a lot of small jobs and you get a lot of great reviews, you take those reviews with you and add them to your resume when you're graduating, so people can see that you are a hard worker.
I heard you say that One Less Thing remains hyper local, and that really stood out to me. And something I'm really curious to know, Rebecca, is where would you say you'd see One Less Thing going in 5 years? And do you see the business going outside of the Bay Area?
Yeah, so I do see it going outside of the Bay Area, and I also see it. I really want to be known for helping students from their freshman year to launching them into their careers. There are plenty of job sites that help with internships. There are plenty of job sites that will help you get a job with an employer, but there's nothing that combines the two of helping you get this job that fills the gaps, and then being able to take that experience and the reviews and the connections and helping you grow to find your job with an employer when you graduate. And so that's what our goal is to expand, but also to expand our business relationships so that we're giving students those opportunities after they graduate. And then what I foresee is us really moving heavily on video, with helping students with their videos, so that they have, if they're up for it, we can help them do a professional video that's going to show their best selves in a 20-30 second clip that they can use not only with us, but with any employer, and share who they are. And we can add those videos on our social media so that when people are looking to hire, they know they can go there and see a short clip of Emilio and, oh, wow, look, you know what? He does this, this, and this. I just thought I'm going to go connect with him right now. So that's our vision for where we'll be in 5 years. We want to be your help you find jobs from when you start at USF to, or not USF, but at any college to when you graduate.
That is
Did I
so.
answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And I believe you mentioned socials, and we would like to give you an opportunity to please share with us the One Less Thing socials. Where can our students find you?
So on Instagram, it's One Less Thing SF. On Twitter, it's OLT Students. And then on Facebook, it's One Less Thing LLC. So those are the main platforms right now. Yeah. So, but please, I mean, one of the benefits of being a small, nimble business is we can make changes, and we want to hear from students. We want to help students. My personal email address, is it okay if I provide it? Because any student can email me at any time, and we can help you with a video. We can help you with your profile. So my email address is Rebecca, REBECCA, at onelessthingsf.com. And we love nothing more than connecting with students on a personal level.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to put all the socials in our descriptions below.
Great. Thank you.
I think that is all for today. Thank you, Rebecca, for coming on and telling us about your journey with One Less Thing. We are very excited to see where it's going to be headed towards, and we definitely see many of our students taking advantage of this opportunity.
Great. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. It was nice to meet both of you.
Yes, it was a pleasure having you on as well. From now, we're going to finish off with our Phoenix announcements. So join Health Promotion Services, also known as HPS, virtually for their signature annual event from March 29th through April 1st and on April 9th. Stress less with pet therapy, online games, breathing techniques, and learning how to grow, cook, and serve food, or take a stress management workshop from certified peer educators. All participants will be automatically entered to win a swag and prizes, and hopefully will stress a little less.
Join Career Services from this Wednesday, March 31st to Thursday, April 1st to be connected with employers hiring for finance and analytical roles and USF alums who are working in this field. Sign up on Handshake.
University Ministry invites you to join their student liturgy for Easter Sunday on April 7th at 7 p.m. All are welcome to connect with friends and communities of all faith.
And now to end our podcast, we do love to end with a quote of the day. So our quote for today is coming from Mandy Hale. There is nothing more beautiful than someone who goes out of their way to make life beautiful for others. And I feel like that is clearly what the platform is trying to do. We're just all trying to help each other out. Yeah.
Well, that pretty much ends it. Thank you all. And this has been Activity Time. Woo!
Thank you.